This is Ryan Abraham, Dan Weber, USCFootball.com, instant analysis here on Howard Jones Field, getting ready for the Boston College game. Team 2-0, Dan, beating two teams that won 11 games last year. Pretty impressive. Steve Sarkisian knew it was a physical game, but felt that the practice had a lot of energy today still.
Yeah, I thought it did. I mean, compared to last Tuesday when as Cody essentially wasn't here, and you got Leonard and Damian kind of went down. I mean, last Tuesday was a train wreck, so this was like, let's go. And I think the thing that Sark was so pleased about is you come out of the Stanford game, and very often that's a physical battle that takes a toll on you, and that doesn't seem to be the case at all. And Leonard is running around. They're letting him go in shorts and didn't have to do the team stuff today, but he's running around a lot out there and still working on that ankle. But other than that, Trey Madden not here. Other than that, they're in pretty good health.
Yeah, health-wise, pretty good. Not the same kind of distractions that we saw last week. There were some, of course, from the Pat Hayden and everything like that, but Steve Sarkisian felt that the teams kind of got through that pretty well.
This, I think, is a team that's kind of impervious to distractions. I mean, if you can get through what happened at the beginning of last week, what happened with Pat and Sark, and that is like, yeah, so what? Who cares? We won, get out of there. We had a good time, played pretty well for a young team. They're not worried about that even a little bit.
Cody Kessler last week, short week of practice for him, so it was tough for him to prepare. Now he feels like he's back out there today full bore.
Right, I think he thought, he wouldn't admit it last week. They're going to get me up to speed, blah, blah, blah. Now this week he admits, I missed like, 1.5 of the 2 real practices getting you ready for Stanford. So yeah, I had a lot of catching up to do. This week he's not having to catch up at all. It just had a completely different feel. Like, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way a Tuesday practice is supposed to be. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going, how they're doing it. It just seemed back to normal business. I mean, really, when you think of how short that week was for the offense to get ready, pretty much without Cody and without Damian, they did a pretty good job to survive.
A lot of talk about the freshman offensive lineman. I talked to Tim Drevno for a little while. He didn't really want to mention the guys by name, saying they're not freshmen, but you got to talk to some of those guys. What do people think of the play of these freshman offensive linemen?
Well, those guys thought they did pretty well. They thought they hung in there, pretty well. They think they've got a lot of, improving to do. But talking to Damian and Vianney, said, I thought they both thought they did pretty well, and that they belonged out there, and that they, as good as Stanford was, they didn't feel like, this is somewhere, we're not ready to be here yet. They felt like they were ready to be there.
And one last thing for you. Leonard Williams, we didn't talk to defensive players today. Leonard Williams did not practice. Steve Sarkisian said he was limited, but he didn't even have pads on today. Do you think he's going to practice the rest of the week? Does he need to? And is he going to play in the BC game?
Steve said he's going to practice. I think it would be really hard not to play Leonard. I just think Leonard, that's just not what you can do with Leonard. That's just, especially they don't have a game the following week. So that would be, sitting him out a couple of weeks. I don't see that. I think they're going to try to make this as normal a game as possible. I think with everybody. I don't think they're going to, then once you get into the game, maybe you make some calls. But I think like Buck is going in there thinking he's going to get the ball a whole lot. I think I think the wide receivers think, we're going to be back to playing A from the Fresno game, and we're going to, kind of distribute the ball all around the field. So I think that's how they're looking at it. Now you get into the third quarter, and then you might make some decisions about guys that you want to see on the field and what have you, but I don't think they're thinking those thoughts yet. I think they think we got a lot to improve on from the Stanford game that we see on film. And the good thing about playing Stanford is they will expose any issues you've got. And I think they're going to try to expand the offense and expand the things they're asking those freshman linemen to do.
One last thing I did forget about Michael Hutchence ended up getting the start because of Hayes Pillard.
Yes, he will. And Elijah and Tucker, though, when they were running ones, they were alternating the two guys, Michael and Elijah one. And Sark said, if necessary, they could slide Anthony over there and bring somebody else. And I don't know how they would, I guess how they would do that exactly, or would they flip those guys? But they feel like with Elijah one and Michael that they're in pretty good shape.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up here on Howard Jones Field. For Dan Weber, this is Ryan Abraham. Check out USCFootball.com for more.